Good morning. Myself Sharvan Kumar, Assistant Professor in Department of Computer Science and Engineering from Akgec Garg Engineering College, Ghaziabad. My today's topic is computer software. That is the part of my this syllabus, programming for problem solving. So that is from Unit 1. So what we'll learn today, basically we will first describe the several important trends occurring in computer software. Second, we will give example of several major type of application and system software. Third, we will explain the purpose of several popular software packages for end user productivity and collaborative computing. Next, we will define and describe the functions of our operating system. Next, we will describe the main use of computer programming software, tools and languages. Last, we will describe the issues associated with the open source software. So, first of all, what is the meaning of application software, or we can say end user applications? I have divided into 3 sections. So, one by one we will discuss all these sections. First, what is the meaning of software? Basically, software is a program or instruction that tells the computer and associated peripheral what to do. So, as we work on computer, we have encountered so many type of programs or software that is basically written instruction, so which tells either to do some work or do some task. So basically there are 2 type of software. First is the system software, second is the application software. If I talk about the system software, the program that run the computer, like our operating system, or we can say drivers, these are the part of system software. Second is the application software. So application software is a program that perform a function or job for us, like word processor, spreadsheet, tally. All these are example of application software. Next, if I talk about the application software for end user, so we can categorize these into different parts. First is the general purpose application programs that perform common information processing job for the end user, like word processor or spreadsheet. Second is the productivity package which increase the productivity of the user. By the using of, if I say spreadsheet or Excel, we can calculate or draw a chart, make a report or any other task related to the reporting to the manager, we can do by this type of application software or application program. Second is the application specific software that does a specific function. If I talk about this type of application specific software, tally is the one of the major example. By the use of tally, we can do accounting job or any related to the accounting functionality. We can use application specific software. Third is the custom software. These are designed and created specifically to do a particular job for one or a company. As we know, we talk about our in-house mailing system is a major example of customized software. Or if I talk about any ERP that is customized for a particular company, that is a part of custom software. Next is our commercial off the shelf software, or we can say COTS, that are developed to sell many copies, usually for profit. Source code may not be modified by the user. All these are we can say examples of commercial off the shelf software. If I talk about any kind of gaming system or gaming software, that is a part of commercial off the shelf software. If I talk about the tally, we don't know the behind the code what is written, but we are using that software, and we are using that software for any kind of commercial off the shelf software. Next is the open source software. Open source software, anyone can modify the software, the documentation and the source code that are available to everyone and anyone. For example, if I say LibreOffice, or we can say Linux or Unix, or Linux, not Unix, Linux, as well as we say about spreadsheet, that is a part of OpenORG, all are part of open source software. Next, we are talking about software and classification of software. So, computer software can be classified into two parts: application software and system software, as I talked about earlier in this slide. Application software and system software. So, further classification of these two kinds are written behind these boxes. If I talk about the application software, that perform information processing tasks for the end user, while the system software manage and support operations of computer system and networks. So, in application software, we categorize further into two parts. One is general purpose applications program, second is the application specific program. If I talk about general purpose application program, that can be your software suite, web browser, email, word processing, spreadsheet, database managers, presentation graphics, personal information manager and groupware, all are examples of general purpose application program, and we will discuss each and every topic in detail in next slides. Also, if I talk about the application specific program, that are business accounting and transaction processing, customer relation management software or ERPs, which we say enterprise resource planning. Next is the next we say electronic commerce, science and engineering software, education software and entertainment, all are part of application specific programs. If I talk about the system software, that manage and support operations of computer systems and networks, are further divided into two types. First is the system management program and second is the system development program. If I talk about the system management programs, these are operating system, network management program, database management systems, application servers, system utilities, performance and security monitors, all are part of system management program. Basically, these run the computer for a particular task. Without these, system can't work. Next, if I talk about the system development program, here we talk about programming language, translators or compilers are part of system development program. Programming editor tool, which we say IDE, are part of programming editor and tools. If I talk about cache packages, where the computer aided software engineering are used for particular system development program. If now we are classifying each and every one by one. If I talk about business application software, first available to support any part of the business, re-engineer or automate business processes like CRM, customer relationship management software, enterprise resource planning, supply chain management are part of re-engineer or automate business process. These are developed for particular use, as well as we can re-engineer according to the customer need. Second is the internal organization activities, which help any person or a specific team to do specific tasks, like HRM software, accounting, finance are part of internal organization activities. If I talk about decision support tools like data mining, knowledge information portals, knowledge management systems are part of decision support tools. Here, reporting and other reporting as well as storing of data and mining of data can be done by using decision support tools. Next, if I talk about software suite and integrated packages, here the software suites are bundled together a variety of general purpose software and applications. The advantage of software suites and integrated packages are: first, they are lower cost than buying each package individually. All the programs use the common graphical user interface. These programs are designed to work together. Also, the major disadvantage with these kind of software suites are many features are never used. Suites take up lot of disk space. Sometimes we buy a complete suite on which some of the packages we do not use them, but still they occupy the space as well as they are linked to our main software. And by the way, some of the time they decrease the performance of the computer. If I talk about system software suite and integrated packages combine some but not all the functions of several programs, offer advantages in smaller packages. They are less powerful than software suites, leave out some functions, take up less disk space than software suites, cost less than software suites. Next is main web browser and email. These are general purpose software. So, web browser are widely used software even more than email. So, electronic mail, instant messages and blogs. So, these are a part of general purpose software. So, email has changed the way the people to communicate. Also, any kind of document can be shared on other person or a group of persons by using email. Second is instant messaging, which we can say chat or WhatsApp. All are email or computer conferencing hybrids. Here, if I talk about nowadays, we are using Team or Zoom are part of this kind of software. Next is blog. Blogs are short for weblogs or weblogs, a person or commercial website on a particular topic or range of topic frequently updated. Next is word processing and desktop publication. So, word processing is used for creation, revisioning, editing and printing of document, spell checkers, grammar checker and treasures. If I talk about desktop publishing, produce printed document that look professionally published. So, word processing, some of the softwares are freely available and some of the softwares are paid. If I talk about Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel are part of paid software and they are used for word processor as well as desktop publishing. If I talk about Microsoft Suite, that complete bundle of all these kind of software. If I talk about open source software, here the OpenORG or LibreOffice provide specific suite for all the word processing as well as desktop publication tools. Next is spreadsheet and presentation graphics. If I talk about spreadsheet used for analysis, planning and modeling, calculation, graphics, what if scenarios, all are part of this kind of tools. Next is presentation graphics, convert numeric data into graphics, graphic display for easy and intuitive comprehension. So, next is personal information manager and groupware. Personal information managers help end user to store, organize and retrieve basic and business information. Groupware help work group and team to collaborate. If I talk about groupware, the famous use software is JET, by which we can collaborate with other programmers to do a specific task in a group and combine them in a single time. Next is software alternatives. If I talk about the software alternative, application service provider provide necessary application for a fee rather than firm developing or purchasing the software. Second alternative is cloud computing. A recent advance in computing and software delivery, software and virtual hardware are provided as a service over the internet. Cloud is metaphor for the internet. Next is software licensing, a complex topic involving copyright, trademark and intellectual property right. In most cases, software is not purchased but licensed to use under very specific circumstances. That is the main alternative of software alternatives. Next, in section 2, we talk about system software, that is computer management, computer system management. So, system software management program are programs that manage the hardware, software, network and data resources. System development program that help user develop a program and produce case tools. The major example is our operating system. Any kind of interface between hardware and application program or user is operating system. In our computer, we use Windows operating system, Linux operating system. If I talk about any mobile, we use either Android operating system or we are using Apple Macintosh software. So, basically it is a layer between computer hardware and application program. So, we talk about it as system software or system management and development. That can be general purpose application specific or application software. So, end user are connected to the computer hardware by using these application or directly to the system. If I talk about the operating system, the major example is of system software. So, operating system is an interface between end user and a hardware, or we can say application and a computer hardware. So, operating system functions are user interface, how the user communicate with the computer. That can be either three types. Either it can be graphical user interface GUI, or it can be command user interface, or it can be menu driven. As we know, or we generally face GUI, whether in today's day life, we if I talk about Windows 11, or we can say Linux, or we can say Android, or can say Apple, all are using graphical user interface. If I talk about command driven interface, here what we use DOS, or we say Unix, or we say shell programming for command driven. So, these are the major example of operating system. Next is resource management. First is user interface, second is resource management, that manage the hardware, network and all kind of resources. Third is the major function of operating system is file management. So, it controls the creation, deletion and access of file of the data and programs. Also, the task management manage these tasks are performed when like multi-user programming, multi-programming, time sharing, primitive or cooperative. If I talk about multitasking, where program takes turns using the processor. Also, the primitive, each program get a slice of time. If I talk about cooperative, program use the processor when it is not being used by another program. Next is the virtual machine. Virtual machine application run independently at the same time. Next, in operating system, program that run the computer operations are Unix, a multitasking, multi-user, portable, run on different hardware operating system. If I talk about the Linux, that is either low cost or freely available package software, that system software that is reliable, powerful, open source, Unix like operating system, and that is that having GUI interface, GUI as well as CUI interface. If I talk about the open software, source code is available to the user and can be modified by the user. Other management programs are utilities program, system management program marketed separately from an operating system. If I talk about browser as well as other kind of notepad, or we can say cloaks, all are example of utilities program. If I say middleware, which help diverse software work together more efficiently, are part of middleware. If I talk about the application virtualization, the software technology that allow application to run on various platforms. So, next our major software development or say system software is programming languages. So, programming languages basically are of two types, high level and low level. If I talk about the low level language, where that directly interact with the machine, that is written in 0 or 1, or it can be object file. If I talk about the high level language, that language is written in user understandable form. So, machine language, we classify the programming language into next further classification. First is a machine language, the first generation language, instruction written in binary that can be 0 or 1, run directly on the computer. If I talk about the assembly language, or we can say assembler language, that is second generation language, use symbol mnemonics to represent opcode, convert into binary as an assembler. If I talk about high level language, the third generation language, basic, COBOL, Fortran, converted into binary by compiler and interpreter. User tell the computer what result they want and how get there. If I talk about the fourth generation language or 4GL, non-procedural language, user tells the computer what result they want, but computer decide how to get there. If I talk about the fifth generation language, that use natural language very close to the English, conversational. If I also object oriented languages combine the data element and programs that act on into the objects, and reusability are part of fifth generation language. Java is most Java as well as Python are most example of object oriented languages. If I talk about the web and internet language services, first is the HTML. HTML is hypertext markup language, a page description language. Markup language are not programming language. Next is the XML. XML is extensible markup language that describe the content of web pages by applying contextual labels on the data. Basically, the HTML provide presentation of any of the data. If in layman language, also if I talk about the XML is used to provide transportation of data from one interface to another interface. Next is the Java and .NET. Java is a platform independent object oriented programming language, very powerful. Applet are small Java program that run or executed by any computer running on operating system where on the network. That is the part of Java, but nowadays applets are deprecated due to some security concerns, and now Spring and as well as Servlet are used in place of applets. Also, the .NET framework is part of Microsoft collection of programming support for the web services. So, web services basically are software that electronically link application of different users and different platforms. So, user use UDDI web services directly to locate the desired web service. So, web service is translated to XML, which act as a platform neutral wrapper. So, web services components communicate via SOAP and an XML based protocol for connecting application and data. So, web services is delivered back to the client in XML and then it back to the client application मतलब web browser. So, next is our programming software. So, programming software that translate these programming languages to the computer are, first is the language translator program, that is instruction must be translated into binary to be executed by the computer. So, here what we need, what we use. First is our assembler. Assembler translates symbolic instruction written in assembly language. Second is compiler that translate high level language statement, translate the entire code, source code into binary code or object code, then execute the entire binary program. If any error is found in that code, that stops the execution, and first it display the error. What the error is inside the program, that can be syntax error or any kind of error that will be displayed to the user, where user will rectify it and again is going to be recompiled. And after the successful recompilation, object code is created. If I talk about the interpreter, that translate and execute one line of program at a time. So, if in case of interpreter, any error found in any line, that line is skipped and the next line will be executed if that is correct. Here interpreter are major major example of interpreter are our web any web browser software. If I talk about the compiler C programming, C compiler, or we can say Java compiler, or we can see any compiler that compile high level language to low level language. If I talk about the programming tools, help programming to identify and minimize error as they are written, write the code, are the case tools that are computer-aided software engineering, automated software support tool for developing system. Also, here we mention one more tool that is used for programming software, that is IDE, Integrated Development Environment. That is the part that having different kind of tools combined together. Here we find our editor, file we find compiler, compiler as well as executor for running the program. Thank you.